Hello, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Blue Blood on the Main Line. I'm your host, Curtis Sumpter. Today, I'll be joined by my favorite coach of all time, Jay Wright. What's up, Coach? Thanks for being on the show.
Hey, buddy. Happy to be on your show. And I like the way you still announce yourself as Curtis Sumpter. You still got the New York accent. I love it. All these years living in Philly, you still got the New York accent, buddy.
I can't get rid of it. Everyone always talks about it. They're like, where are you from? Are you from New York? Are you from Philly? I really can't tell. When I go to New York, they say I sound like I'm from Philly. And when I'm in Philly, they say, nah, you're totally New York. So I can't call it, man. I can't call it. But, as I want to, you really need no introduction. I'm glad to have you on the show. I know we're getting ready for this huge upcoming game on Saturday against Butler. So just wanted to just ask you, as we unwind and come down to the end of the season, just your thoughts on just how the season went from start to beginning. Just this year being a little bit different, the whole COVID year, getting Colin back, getting Jermaine back, having a young team, having some guys developing. Just kind of give us an overview.
You hit the nail on the head, Curtis. It's been a wild year, really wild year. It started with getting Colin and Jermaine back, which was a surprise, right? And we probably lost Cole Swider because they came back. Nothing wrong. Just we get it. He was going to be a senior and starter. Now those guys are coming back, and then we have Caleb Daniels in the offseason has myocarditis, and Colin has knee surgery, and Jermaine has hand surgery. So like they missed the whole summer. And you know what that's like in our program, how much time we spend in the summer on our individual work and our individual development. And I was away for the Olympics all summer. And so I kind of feel like all year we come back, and Colin and Justin been playing hurt, and Caleb's finally getting back into it. And then he gets COVID during the year. We got foot and mouth disease. It was just a crazy. And I say all that because it just goes to prove, and every team's probably got the same kind of story, but how proud I am of these guys, that we're going into the last game of the season, and we're 15-4 in the conference, and they've had a great year. And I don't know where we're ranked, somewhere in the top 20. And they've just done an incredible job of battling through the journey of a season. And you know better than anybody, that is something maybe that fans don't understand, is what guys go through during a season, and where at this point of the year, how much they've been through. And I hope all of that really strengthens us for postseason tournament play in the Big East tournament and the NCAA tournament.
So, like you said, all that stuff just happens. And like you said, things that you can't control, they come here and we're faced, you got to have, your attitude, right? Positive attitude.
Yeah,
but so the last 3 years essentially really has been rough in college basketball in general, right? But some of the things that have come from it is guys have been getting a chance to get an extra year, right? To develop. So maybe guys who were going to come in and maybe play right away, they got a chance to sit back and learn while still going through some of these obstacles, right? So they're learning not only the Villanova way, but they also learning how to deal with other obstacles, right? So how I think that's affected the program a lot too, because one of my favorite guys right now who seems to be playing out of his mind. Oh my God, I'm drawing a blank as we speak.
Brandon Slater.
Brandon Slater.
I knew you loved Brandon.
Yes, Brandon. I mean, just doing absolutely everything, but slowly just gradually climbing. How has COVID affected his game and his progress?
Well, I as you were saying, my favorite guy. You and I haven't discussed that. Who your favorite guy is, but I just kind of thinking of you and him, because I think of him like you. He was the Washington, D.C. player of the year coming out of high school, just like you were the New York City player of the year. And then differently. He got here and physically just wasn't ready to play. He was skinny, wiry. You were more physically ready to play, but you had a lot to learn when you first got here.
Mm-hmm.
And by your junior year, you were a stud, and our leading scorer, and Slate is kind of on that path where he's got another year next year. I think next year he could be maybe the best player on the team, and he just continues to grow and get better. And it's because he had that same mindset that you did. Like, I understand all the expectations around me from the outside because I was New York City, DC Player of the Year, but I can't let that affect my growth process. And I have to be intelligent about understanding what it takes to be a great player. He's done the same thing, and he's really become one of our best free throw shooters, our best defensive player. He's becoming a really good 3-point shooter. He's becoming our inbounder, our smartest passer inbounder. I mean, his growth is incredible. I'm so proud of him, and he's got another year. I mean, this kid's going to be a superstar.
I watch him, right, and to see him, he just plays so free now. Like, you saw, periods and moments that he had playing with, some of the guys with Jeremiah the year before, and as you insert him from his freshman and sophomore year, you saw flashes, right? And obviously, we all know trying to learn the Villanova way and play within. But I couldn't wait till he just was able to just free his mind, right? And now he's out there just, like you said, just doing it all. And now you can really see his talent and what he could potentially be as he continues to grow. I mean, it's been a pleasure to watch. And so has even Eric. I mean, watching Eric's progression and just talking to those guys at all the Villanova events, you can just tell by their character. They do exactly what you say, Coach. They're just taking it day by day, blocking out the outside, only concerned with what's going on within, trying to get better, understanding their role, and knowing that in the end they will get what they want. So it's just an amazing season to watch.
You referenced two perfect guys to accentuate what it is to trust in the process and believe in Villanova basketball and your own journey. Both of those guys, Eric, well, Brandon's freshman year, he breaks his hand. He doesn't play. He can't play. And Eric's freshman year, we redshirt him. He works with our strength coach, John Shackleton, who you know well, and loses weight, improves his conditioning, cuts his body fat, spends a whole year doing that. And then comes back last year. First year he's playing, comes off the bench. By the end of the year, he's playing well. This year becomes a starter. So he's really been patient and intelligent about his approach. And Eric's another guy. Eric's got 3 years to play. So
right,
I mean,
still
he could become a hell of a college basketball player.
Let me tell you guys a little bit about our partners over at BetRivers Sportsbook. If you haven't signed up yet with BetRivers, now's the time because they are offering a $250 match bonus for your first deposit. What sets them apart is that they require one playthrough just to turn your bonus into cash money. With their new Rush Pay instant approval, withdrawing your winnings is safer, more secure, and more reliable. With conference play starting up, get in on the action by going to betrivers.com today or by downloading the BetRivers iOS app. Must be 21 years or older. If you have a gambling problem, please call 1-800-GAMBLE. As we talk about those guys being, trusting the process and understanding, watching Villanova, the success the program has had prior to getting there. Let's go back and turn the tables a little bit and how we had some challenges a little bit, with that first class, myself in particular. I'm not going to talk about anybody else, but like you said, like Brandon, like Eric, understanding how to accept the style we wanted to play and the way we wanted to play. Having my moments, like you said, trying to humble myself down. I remember one day, I'm not sure if you remember, I went to practice And I said, I don't care what's going on. I'm not gonna pass the ball this whole entire day. Like, I need to show coach I can play. Like, for some reason, I don't know. I think he's not, I think I'm not what he wanted, anymore. Like, I was feeling that way in practice. So I told Alan, I told Randy, and I told Jason, and they was like, boy, you crazy. You better not try that. And I was like, I was like, because they were playing my freshman year, and I was like, why am I not playing? So, and I did it. And I actually, made more than I missed. Let's say that. I made more than I missed. And you definitely, was on me about some of the things, but I don't know if you knew what I was doing. You know what I mean?
Right.
So I just want to but you definitely had a conversation with Alan and Randy, at the practice, and said, what was wrong with Curtis today? Like, was something going on with him? Because they told me at the end. So I just wanted to remind you, do you remember that? That was my one insubordinate moment where I just said, forget this. I need to show coach, I need to play a little New York City basketball today in practice and not Villanova basketball.
You know, it's funny. I when you guys leave, I remember all the good things. Like, unless it's something really crazy. So, like, to me, you were always like the most coachable guy, the best teammate, did everything. That's my memories. I'm sure we all had days like that. Right. Now, somebody like Alan Ray, there was a lot of days like that with Alan Ray, so that,
right.
I remember that little, I remember having to throw Alan Ray out of practice in the one-on-one defensive drill. Remember that?
Right.
Because he wouldn't.
Well, I didn't go there. I always went to the line. A lot of times get noticed. My freshman, I just need to get noticed, and but that shows. It took those moments, I guess, for me to understand the process. That's why I understand it so much better now. As an adult, as I got to my junior and sophomore year, just what it took to be a Villanova player, and that's why I could respect what Eric and those guys are doing now.
I think there's a really unique relationship that great players like yourself and Randy Foy, Alan Ray. There's a unique combination of characteristics you have to have a high level of confidence and kind of arrogance about you on the court, that you believe you're better than everybody. But then you also got to have a level of intelligence to assess where you need to improve, where you need to fit into the team. And if you've got a good balance of the two, you could be a great player, which you guys all became. It was a combination of your confidence and a little bit of arrogance, which is a good arrogance, like thinking you're as good as anybody, but an intelligence to know, I got to get better in this area. Like, coaches telling me there's a process here. I still believe I'm better. I still believe I can beat anybody, but I see where I've got to improve in this process. And that's where I always thought all of our great players, and you were certainly one of them. They had that unique balance. Every once in a while, we'd have to pull you back a little bit, like, yo, easy, a little bit more team.
Mm-hmm.
But then there was a lot of times in games when you guys would take over, we'd say, thank God they know they're the best player on the floor. It's a really fine balance, and it's really fragile to deal with that combination, but you definitely need both. And I think a guy like Slate has got to get a little bit of that arrogance, and even Eric's got to get a little bit of that arrogance and that confidence. They definitely have the intelligence, both of them.
You definitely helped us with that arrogance really, really early, which was a good thing. And we talk about it amongst our guys, because we came in there, we were saying, like, it's going to be, this freshman class against everybody else. We'll take Marcus, we'll take Chris, because they're like with us anyway. But Snow, Gary, Sully, Rick, Dre, whoever, like, it's us against you guys, right? And I think they sensed that, we was like in drills, practice, whether it was, when we would do open gym, we was like underclassmen against upperclassmen, So that was the whole mentality we had. But not only you, they quickly checked us, and we quickly understood, the difference between high school basketball and college basketball. And now we're playing against, guys, grown men who've been hanging out with Watts, Watts at the time for 4 or 5 years in the weight room. Like, it's a whole different ball game. So it was a great experience to come there and not have so much success, in the beginning, and go through those obstacles and challenges, especially, myself in particular.
Excuse me for interrupting. I'm sorry, but what's interesting, Curtis, you remind me, like, you guys came in with great confidence, and, our program hadn't had the success yet. So you guys tasted some failure early as freshmen and sophomores. And then, in your junior year, you earned, the success, the Sweet 16 and competing for a Big East championship. You guys went through the entire process of building it, failing, building it, fighting through together. So when you were juniors, you really had a great bond and a great understanding of what it took. One of the challenges for the guys that are in the program now, and our senior class of Jermaine Samuels and Demir Cosby Roundtree and Colin Gillespie, they came in their freshman year and they were on a national championship team. And the next year we lost a lot of guys and we struggled early, but Phil Booth and Eric Pascal just kind of carried that team, Then their junior year, okay, we win a Big East championship again, and they never really had those difficult times, So it's always, we always got to kind of keep in check with those guys. Like, this doesn't just happen. Like, the work you're putting in is what does it, not just putting on a Villanova.
They're doing a great job, Coach.
That's a new challenge.
But that's what I'm saying. So, kudos to you, Coach, and how you, growing as a coach. You know what I mean? Because you had to get us to the point, get the program to that point, and then now, the way it's been sustained, as one of the most, if not the most successful program in college basketball over the last 20 years. But like you said, Colin, those guys coming in as freshmen and automatically a championship, and still having a mindset that, next year is a whole new season, and still having that grind mindset. It just shows that they followed in how the process was. We had to learn it. It didn't start with us. It started from our seniors, who had 1 year underneath you, along with you, who taught us, what it had to be. And then we had to continue to carry it to Mike and Will, and then to Kyle and so forth and Reggie and everybody. And everyone's just bought in. You used to always say you got to buy in, but you see everyone's just bought in. So it's a pleasure to watch.
Well, I want to make sure that our guys never forget what you guys did, because you guys were the first recruiting class, and there was no real reason for you guys to come here except for the fact that you guys had a great bond, and you and Jason and Alan and Randy and Baker was a part of that.
Baker, Mikey
Claxton. But the original four, you four had a great bond before you came here, and then you trusted us, and we're forever grateful for that, because you guys went through the process of building it, rebuilding it. As we all know, there was guys before us, right?
Right.
Coach Lapis had great teams, and Coach Massino had great teams and great players, and so, but we each had the responsibility at our time, and you guys. And I know you see that when you come here. Our guys are reminded all the time that you guys built this and set the standard, and they've got to play every day, understanding what you guys did and out of respect for you guys. And I think they do that. And I think that's speak to their character and your guys' loyalty always coming around. They love that.
So I spoke to some of the former coaches that were on that staff back when we committed, and just in various conversations, and they talk about meeting, a coaches meeting, and you putting Jason's name on the board, Alan, myself, Randy's name on the board, and they kind of looked at you like, you sure? Like, like, and if anyone knows you the way I know you, your confidence, and it doesn't matter. You're going to give it a shot. You know what I mean? That's the only thing you're going to do is just give it your all. Like, what gave you the confidence to try and attempt to recruit us? Because again, I'm sure it took away from obviously other guys, that you, especially if you really wanted, us for, which I saw, you really wanted us for.
It was, as you look back on your career, Curtis, you realize everybody worked really hard, but then you also realize you got some good breaks too. But at that time, there was no fear of failure. Like the first thing we want to do is we wanted to set the tone that we're going to recruit the best players in the country, and you guys were the best players in. I think we're the number 2 recruiting class in the country that year, and some places might have been number 1. But you guys were the best players in the country, and you were in our local area. And if you remember, one of the fortunate things was I was at Hofstra at the time, and I was recruiting you guys when you were younger for Hofstra. I realized as you guys get older, I wasn't going to get you at Hofstra, but started recruiting you for Hofstra. Joe Jones, who was on our staff, was recruiting you guys for Villanova. And Freddie Hill was recruiting you guys for Seton Hall.
Yeah.
And then we all came together on the same staff. And we, and when we got together the first time, we said, who's your favorite players? We all named you 4. And we're like, let's go for this, man. Let's go. And even if we don't get any of you, like we got to be in the mix. We got to prove that we're in the mix.
Right.
And then each time, like one of you would, I think Alan Ray was the first one.
He was the first.
Right. And then I think Randy.
I committed, like it was me and Randy. I think I committed right before Randy.
It was you, then Randy?
Then Randy committed right after, yeah.
I was thinking it was Randy, then you. It was you, then Randy?
It was so close. I can't one or the other.
But each time one of you we would say, all right, we got a shot. Like we got Alan. We're like, all right, we got a shot at Curtis. All right, if we get Alan, we got a shot at Curtis. And then we got Curtis. I remember you telling me about you and Randy being at an AU game playing.
Yeah, it was weird how just our relationships had intertwined. My relationship and Jason's relationship obviously was AAU. My relationship and Jason's relationship with Randy was that crazy game that happened where they literally cheated us and gave Randy a championship. It was the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. Too long to discuss. He knows.
I love that you still remember that, man. I love that.
And then Alan, my aunt and Alan's aunt worked together, right? So my aunt would talk about, her nephew playing in Brooklyn, doing his thing, and she would talk about her nephew in the Bronx doing his thing. And what school does your nephew go to? He goes to St. Ray's. And my nephew goes to Bishop Lachlan. And then it was like a thing. And then, it was, so I was like, now I started, it was just like a big thing. It was like, I guess it was meant to be, essentially. But I want to say like just the processes, man, like you guys, whatever you decided to do or whatever you guys did compared to the other schools who at the time obviously had higher names, you guys by far stood out, just as a staff, and I guess determination too.
And we had the perfect opportunity for you guys who were all ready to play right away to come in and build a program. And you guys were such, as great a players as you guys were, what we also learned, we learned a lot from you guys. And after you went through your playing career as a staff, we all said, you know what? They were great players and they got us going, but we didn't realize at the time we were recruiting them what great young men they were, the character of their families. Because, those first couple of years were tough. And, if you got some crazy families, they're going to be like, yo, we're out of here,
For sure.
Everybody stuck together. Not that it was perfect, but everybody stuck together. And we really realized like it wasn't just the talent, because everybody in the top programs have talent. It was the character of those guys that did it. And it made us kind of realize down the line, you know what? We got to stick to that. We got to stick to the character, getting guys with high character that have family members around them that are interested in education, that are interested in these guys growing as men, and that are interested in these guys being the best players and being pros. We got to have that combination. I don't think we were thinking about that when we recruited you. We were thinking about the best players, but then we learned that from you guys and your families.
Understood. And that makes total sense. Just as a competitor, and an opportunity going into the Big East, as we know, and the Big East somewhat getting reminiscences of the old Big East now with UConn in it. I understand. Yeah. I get that. To be competitive, you want to go after the best players. But like you said, you learn. And one thing I can say, as a player and as you, former player, the best coaches as a player to feel that you play for are the ones that you feel learn and adapt, right? And that's one thing I can say as a former player of yours. Through my time playing for you, I always felt that you've learned to adapt to me, right? Because every player wants to do their thing, right? But every coach has a plan, right? But I also felt not only for me, you know what I mean? I also felt that for everyone, there was always a place for everyone to sort of be themselves, in their space, but within the system. And I thought it was a great way to play, and I thought it gave everybody opportunity to be successful, and I can't even speak for our player development. I mean, it was just insane. I mean, I talk about legendary workouts in St. Mary's and in Nevin and No Heat, Sweat, and it was just, those days was just it takes you to a place,
I tell our recruits, Curtis, I take them on a tour of campus and, they see our beautiful practice facility. And then we go up on West Campus and I show them St. Mary's. So for some of our fans here that wouldn't know, before we had a practice facility, when you guys were here, we used to play in this old, hot, small, not unair conditioned gym, unheated. And I always show the recruits, like, that building over there, St. Mary's, that's where Randy Foy and Alan Ray and Curtis Sumpter, that's where those guys worked out in the off season. Like that, they'd come outside in the summer. We'd have a hose outside. That's where they drink their water.
The little hill, doing bear calls, or the little mini hill, like old school workouts.
I miss those days. That was awesome, though, man.
I miss those too, Coach. Like, I mean, it's those things that bring you back to reality. And don't get me wrong, like this the new stuff that's there is amazing. I wouldn't trade it for the world. Trust me, I would not trade it for the world, because you can still put the same work in, with those. But it just more makes you more appreciative of, and it shows you from where you started and where you are now, and just keeps you humble and respect the process. But
I'll tell you what, man, I tell you what, you guys scared the hell out of me when I remember when we first got this practice facility, and you came back and saw it, and Randy Foy and you guys were like, yo, man, you guys are going to get soft. This is too nice. Like, we used to be up at St. Mary's, grinding in the heat. That's what made us good. You guys are going to get soft. And you know me, I was paranoid as hell. I was like, oh, no. So right away, I went right back to the players like, you know what Randy Foy told me? You know what Curtis Sumpter told me? They told me we're going to get soft. We're not going to get soft in here. But I was paranoid about that. I really was.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Psychologically, I totally understand, but like you said, you always take on the whole, your coach. You take on the personality of your coach. And I think you weren't going to get soft. I knew that regardless of what. I was like, the players might come in there with a different mindset, but they got to come. It takes a special player to play for coach. I always say that it takes a special player to play for coach. And if they're there, they're good with me. I don't care what it looks like or whatever it is. If they're there and they're playing for coach, then I respect them. I'm on the same level with them. I understand them, and they're good. And I knew you weren't going to get soft, and it shows. And before I let you go, I just want to say congratulations again, on becoming one of the coaches inducted into the 2022 class of Hall of Fame. So I just want to say congratulations. Also want to say thank you again for the invitation to attend the ceremony. That's always been a place where I wanted to be as a player, but to visit there in any capacity, was amazing. So thank you again for that.
I love you, man. Thank you for everything you've done for our program and continuing to represent us and staying loyal. It's a great example to all of our young guys, man. We're proud of you, buddy.
Coach, I mean, from myself, from all the players, and I'm sure a lot of the players now who've, graduated under you, but us coming from his first class, the things you spoke about, are coming to fruition. And it's good to see that all those things you spoke about 20 plus years ago still hold true today. The togetherness, the hard work, the team, the community, the whole love, the whole family mentality. It's great to see. And there's no, I want to say that there's no, it's not an accident. We are where we are today. Is what I want to say. One thing you would always say is Villanova was Duke before Duke. And I ain't believe you, but we're Duke. We're up there. I know you won't say it, but I'm gonna say it. You know what I mean?
Thank you, buddy. Thanks.
Love you. Tell Patty, tell everybody I love you, the family. Good luck this weekend, Coach, and thanks again for being on the show from the bottom of my heart.
Love you, buddy. Tell your mama, Pop, for love.
Will do. Go Cats.